Hey y'all, I had debated on if I was going to do this video or not, and I've decided to go ahead and just let you guys know up front on this. I'm going to be explaining what we actually look at when we're looking at a case to help determine where we're going to search, what means, etc. And some of the topics involved in this will get a little graphic, so I'm just giving you a heads up right now on that. Basically, the searches break down to two things: land search or water search. And a water search does not necessarily mean diving. It doesn't necessarily mean deep water in sonar. It could be a creek that you could see the bottom of. You can walk across less than knee deep. Anytime that there's enough water that could hide something, that would still be considered a water search. The land search we will get to here shortly. I'm going to start with the water search. And obviously I don't want to say the easiest. Any search has its difficulties, but the easiest out of them would be looking for like a submerged vehicle. Simply the size and the shape of the vehicle, it is going to show on sonar a lot easier. That would be the easiest, and in a water search best case scenario. Next, you have what I call a contained water search. That is where a body is believed to be contained in like a metal drum or something along those lines and then put in the water. That's going to be your second easiest search. And again, not easy by any means, but just categorizing these. The final water search would be just a human body in a body of water. That is by far your most difficult search, and we will get into the details of why here in just a minute. Okay, so we're going to start off with the water search looking for a vehicle. One of the best tools available to begin a search like this is obviously something like Google Earth, Google Earth Pro. There is another one I found that the pictures are actually more real-time than your standard Google Earth. I cannot think of the name of that. I will get that to you. But looking around bodies of water with online tools such as that, you could see sometimes many vehicles have been found using Google Earth. It is something that is very possible. And I'm trying to find the name. I sent it to Megan. I had to get that name for you guys. Okay, it is Soar Earth. SOAR.Earth. I will put a link to that in the description down here. But the pictures are supposed to be close, like really close to real-time pictures. So that's just another tool to look at, compare back and forth. I don't believe it's got a lot of the tools attached to it that Google Earth does. I was on this morning and I did not see like the measurement tool. I love using the measurement tool on Google Earth. But Google Earth is, and any of these, is a very excellent tool to use. I highly recommend that you do something like a Google search and just Google what a vehicle looks like underwater using Google Earth, and just look at those images and they stand out. and you know it's a vehicle when you see it, yet at the same time, it is hard. I have seen things that I would have swore was a vehicle on Google Earth and get there and it be nothing close to a vehicle. So the online tools, it's hard to determine yes this is or no it isn't for sure without boots on the ground to check that out. But it is definitely a step in the right direction. So use online tools, search the bodies of water, look for something that you believe could be a car, use the measurement tool, get the measurements of it, see if the measurements fall in line with this. Next comes your sonar search. With sonar, very highly recommend you look up pictures of submerged vehicles on sonar, because once you have these images burnt in your mind, basically, there's no mistaking a vehicle. Exceptions if it's been there for years and years and years, and even then there's going to be things that pop out of that to you that you're going to be confident that's a vehicle. Next, if you don't have sonar, the next best thing you can do is use like a fishing magnet. And I've got my magnet right here. But these are very easy to use. You throw it out. If it attaches, it's metal. There's a good chance you've got you a vehicle there. At least something metal that's going to need to come out of the water regardless to help the environment. I've also got a camera that if I get a magnet on something, I'm still not sure what it is. I've got a couple different cameras that I could actually lower down to it and determine that way what this is. So water vehicle searches, that's going to be the easiest search out there all the way around. That brings us to what I call the water contained search. This is where a body is likely in a still drum, something similar to that, and has been put into a body of water. Typically, people who do this will use a river, although there's many instances you hear of this in lakes. You don't hear about ponds so often, but ponds are normally private property, so there's really not a lot of access to those to where there's going to be enough people, enough traffic there that would uncover something like that. I believe that's probably why the numbers of this type of find is so low when it comes to ponds. It's just not enough people able to access them and have the traffic to uncover something like that. I do believe that there are many cases that would be solved in ponds this way. But again, it goes back, you could use online tools, but you're looking for a lot smaller object. So unless it's in really shallow water, you're probably not going to find it with Google Earth, that sort of stuff. That brings up sonar. Even on sonar, it's going to be difficult just because the size of the barrel, especially, we were at Cedar Creek in one of our previous videos here. There is rocks in that creek that's the size of 55-gallon drums. So it's going to be able to tell the difference between a metal drum versus a rock or even a part of a tree. So there's a lot of, I don't want to say guesswork, because if you have any thought, any doubt, anything like that, you need to 100% make sure you clear whatever object it is you think you found. But you're working with a lot higher degree of difficulty at this stage. You could use a magnet as well. And again, we use this magnet a lot, especially in our creek searches right now. We go back out to Cedar Creek. We will have our submersible drone then, but while we're running that, somebody else is going to be throwing a magnet in, and we should have a couple more magnets then too, and should have a couple more people that are likely to be joining us. So the more tools you have, the more people that could be searching, the greater the odds are. But it's just the difficulty at this point coming from a car to something the size of a 55-gallon drum. It's just a whole new level of difficulty. From there, you go to just the exposed human body into a body of water. This one, time is not on your side. If it's a vehicle or it's contained, time is more on your side, giving you more time to find something versus just an exposed human body. Your body's going to start breaking down, and this is where it starts getting some of the graphic stuff. But in water, submerged in water, your body will start breaking down within a couple days to a few weeks, because you got to take into consideration scavengers, wildlife, fish, turtles. I mean, it's not a pretty picture, but fact is it's facts. This does happen, and it's not pretty, but it's what we're dealt with. So if it's not contained in a vehicle, if it's not contained in a drum or something similar, time is very short. If the body is in a river, right here where I live, the Missouri River, just a couple minutes away, if you ain't found something within 2 to 3 weeks tops, the odds are very slim of finding anything of just a body in the water. And it's sad, it's frustrating, but it's just a fact of life. It's nature, it's how nature works. Nature is not pretty. We like to see the beautiful hills, the streams, the beautiful trees, the sunrise, and we think nature is so pretty. Nature is not pretty. When you get into it, nature is very cruel. Not saying I don't love nature, but realistically, it's cruel. It's not easy. And this is I would say this would be your hardest search period, would be just a human body in a body of water, particularly a river. In a river, just because I weigh about 230 pounds. If I fall in the Missouri River, I'm not sinking like a lead weight. 230 pounds, that's going to carry me all over the place. Now, if you're in a contained body of water, say a big lake, then you're still contained in an area, but lakes are so large and the current moves all the way around the lake that this person could end up here over on this side. It could end up way over there within just a matter of days, a couple days. So a lake is going to be a little bit easier of a search than a river, but it's not going to improve your odds all that much. If you're in a stream, for me, a stream or a creek, I would have to put that on the same level as a river, simply because not only water come up, go down, move things around, but the body would be more exposed to nature. You've got heat and humidity that's going to affect it, even in shallow water like that. The scavengers are going to be able to gain access to that body a lot easier than they could in a river. And again, not a pretty picture, but these are facts and things that we do have to look at when we're looking at a search. Now, obviously, when it comes to an exposed body, exposed human body in a body of water, a pond is going to be, in my opinion, one of your most likely scenarios that you might find something. And again, the degree of difficulty is extremely high, but it is more contained. It is a smaller body of water, yet it's deep enough that a lot of the scavengers cannot get down and get to the body. So you have a little bit more time on your side when it comes to looking for an exposed human body in a pond. Either way, exposed human body in water, the degree of difficulty is just beyond extreme. It's not impossible. I don't want to give the image that it's impossible, but it is so difficult, and that's why a lot of search and recovery teams, some won't even look at a case unless there's a vehicle involved, just because of the degree of difficulty and the very, very, very low success rate across the country on a case like that. So that basically covers the water search section of this. And I'm going into this because many of you have reached out to me and asked me, what do I base our searches off of? What do we look at? How do we go about it? So that's why I went ahead and decided to go ahead and share this. And at this point, we're going to move over and start talking about a land-based search. Land-based, you hear a lot, hunting season, you start hearing about a lot of missing people. They wandered off the trail. They might not have everything they need for the elements. Search and rescue teams are called out. They go in looking for these individuals. Then hopefully they're successful and they find the individual. If not, they keep searching. Then after so much time has gone by that they determine to scale back the search and rescue. It's a search and recovery at this point. And I'm going to stop right here. I've had people ask me the difference between search and rescue and search and recovery. Search and rescue, you're searching for somebody and there is still a good chance this person is alive. That is your search and rescue. A search and recovery means that there's been enough time go by that it is believed the person is deceased, so now you are there to try to recover that person. The amount of time in between a rescue and a recovery, it varies. Are they in the water? Are they on land? What's the air temperature? What's the water temperature? Do they have any gear with them? Do they have access to water and food, heat, shelter? A lot of variables take place in the decision on when to go from a rescue to a recovery. I would be more than happy to join in and help on a search and rescue. Right now, we look more at the recoveries, because as time goes on and the person has not been recovered, law enforcement they follow all their leads, they exhaust all of their leads, and the days that there's nobody looking for this individual start growing, while days that somebody is looking starts dwindling, till eventually it's cold and nobody's looking. That's what got us into search and recovery, is so we could ensure there is somebody out there looking for these people. In some of our cases, I don't mean we're the only ones. There's other people. There's a lot of you guys looking into these cases as well. But it's basically lost its thunder. Enough time's gone by, a lot of people move on to other things, and these people still need to be recovered. But that's the difference between search and rescue and search and recovery. So when you're doing a ground search, a land search, one of the first things you want to look at is how long had they been missing? Are they in a vehicle, on foot? Who last seen them? Where were they last seen? Possibly where were they headed? How were they dressed? What was their mindset? Were they in a good mood? Were things going good? Were they depressed? You got to look at all of these things to kind of get a idea of the mindset of the person. And I don't want to say you have to think like the person, but you have to be asking the questions. Now, with all of this information, what is this person likely to do? Where are they likely to go? So you got to start looking into all of that, because that plays a huge factor in it. And if they're in a vehicle, again, Google Earth. A lot of vehicles are found using Google Earth. It's driven off a ravine, went off in the ditch, and there ain't no water there, but there's enough brush that it keeps the vehicles hidden from the road or anybody passing by, or maybe the ditch is deeper there and people pass by and not even see it. So again, online tools is a really good resource, even on a ground search. But let's say the person is not in a vehicle. There's no vehicle attached to the case, and they may have just wandered off and got lost. At this point, again, we're back to Google Earth. And let's say it's been 3 or 4 years. Odds of finding them out there alive is slim to none. And at this point, you're looking for an exposed human body in the elements. Now you've got heat and humidity. You've got the scavengers, and you've got insects and bugs. A lot of things not in your favor. And graphic again, but a lot of wildlife. Squirrels, coyotes, fox. They will eat a bone to get to the bone marrow. And they will eat the bone marrow. They do this on dead animals, but they will also do this to a human. So, exposed to the elements, time again is not on your side as far as making a recovery. If foul play has been involved and they are, say, in a shallow grave type situation, you're looking at, within a week or two, the odor itself will draw some attention. If it's way off in the backwoods somewhere, not a lot of people around who's going to know what this is, this brings in your scavengers again. Even without the scavengers, this is not something that online tools is going to help with. This would be something that has to be boots on the ground. And ground penetrating radar is an excellent resource, but you can't go to a 2,000 acre piece of property and push your ground penetrating radar across the whole thing. It's just not really feasible. I mean, I hate saying that because you want to do everything you can to find these individuals, but you wouldn't be doing anything productive with this. It would take 1,000 acres. Oh my word! It would take a long time to walk ground penetrating radar over that whole thing, and that's time that you could have been focused doing other things on the case. And this is where something like as simple as a metal detector. People wear belts. There's buttons on jeans and a lot of shorts, change in the pockets, jewelry. This is stuff that a metal detector can pick up on. And granted, it's hard to rely just on a metal detector on this type of search because you will be digging a lot. We took my metal detector in our backyard just the other night. Was out there 5 minutes and I dug up a really old buckle. So going with just a metal detector, which as far as gear would be the best to use besides a cadaver dog. If you get access to cadaver dogs, you're set on this kind of situation. But a metal detector is a good tool to have, and I highly recommend if you're doing ground searches that you do have one available. The next one is, they've been buried deep. Somebody really wanted this person hid. They've completely buried them. Or they've been out on a trail somewhere. There was a mudslide that unfortunate victim in this mudslide. Nobody really knows about it. Nobody knows where they are. And they're buried deep. Something like that, the odds are so far against it. Again, a cadaver dog will pick up the scent on that. So anything short of a cadaver dog in that kind of a situation, it's not hopeless, but your work's cut out. The degree of difficulty at this point, I would have to put in with the river on a water search with an exposed human body. The odds are against you finding it without a cadaver dog. And again, there's no online tools at that point you could really look at. And it's going to be hard to determine what might be a shallow grave or a deep unmarked grave for somebody without or by using online tools. Now, magnetometer, ground penetrating radar, and cadaver dog being number one. Those are your best chances of finding something in that situation. And I was going to go into the amount of time it takes a body to break down and stuff, but if it's an exposed body out in the elements, a lot of variables go into play on that. Within a couple hours, some things start breaking down. A couple days, a lot more. So it's some variables speed it up, some variables will slow it down. So it's hard to pinpoint a time frame. But if it's exposed in a body of water, if you haven't recovered something after 2 weeks, your degree of difficulty multiplies by 10 daily after that. And the same for the ground search for deep buried or shallow grave. The easiest search on the ground is in a vehicle. The easiest search with the water is in a vehicle. And it's simply, you've got the large object there that you're looking for that is very, very distinguishable. You're going to know it when you see it. And it makes it a lot easier. Yet at the same time, nothing about it is easy. I also want to stress, if you are thinking about doing these searches, going out and actually searching, make sure you are prepared mentally. And with this, I don't mean just for what you may find out there. You have to be prepared mentally to mentally be beat up, because you put so much work, so much effort on a place, and you might not find anything there. And it's not a waste of time, because that area would be cleared and you know there's nothing there. But the stress and the anxiety and the worry and the work itself, you have to be prepared for that. And there's no words of wisdom anybody can give you on how to prepare yourself. But just make sure you are physically and mentally prepared for anything you may encounter with this. And I'm not going to keep this going too much longer, but if any of you have any questions about any of this, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information will be in the description as well. If there's anything I can say or do to help you, please, all you got to do is reach out. I will do everything I can to help you. I know there's one individual, she told me she started buying up some gear to start doing some searches. Absolutely incredible. The more people out there doing this, the more answers that are going to be found. And I'll be more than happy to help you out any way that I can. So I wanted to do this to hopefully try to answer some of the questions some of you had on what we look at on a case as far as leading up to a search. And that's not all by any means, but these are some of the tougher issues that need to be looked at before going on a search. And hopefully we can kind of show you as we go forward when we're out searching where some of this falls into play. Bring up other things as well while we're out there. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and cut this short. I do want to say the Summer Wells case out of Tennessee. Just a few updates on some of the cases. We're waiting on some updates on that one. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to do an update on that case. The Cole Firestein case, the one that we had planned to search this last Saturday, but with the rain and stuff, if everything goes right this Saturday, hopefully we can get out and do the searches on that case. Sunday we won't be searching on July 4th. Monday, we might. I've got 4 locations I want to search for coal. I don't know if we would get all 4 of them done on Monday or on Saturday. If not, then Monday we will go to the other locations. The Randy Leach case, the weekend after this coming weekend, we will be out doing some more searches on the Randy Leach case. We're still narrowing down which locations we want to go to that weekend. I mean, we have over 51 locations that we want to check. I know we're not going to gain access to all of them, but we are definitely going to be trying. But that weekend, probably Saturday and Sunday, we will be out doing the searches for Randy Leach. And at some point, the family member of Star Boomer, whenever she's ready to do this, we'll be meeting with her, and she's going to be sharing that story with you guys. And before too long, I will probably be renting ground penetrating radar to search an area for Star. But while we have that ground penetrating radar, there is some locations of interest I would love to go to on the Randy Leach case and use the ground penetrating radar as well. So we will keep you updated on all of that. And that's just quick updates on where we are on those. So I'm going to say again, I'm going to cut this short. This time I really am. So till next time, you guys stay safe and let's bring some of these people home.